Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Wilson. I'm a comic book artist, creator of all kinds of stuff. And I'd like to welcome you here to Strictly Art Live, number 88. This fine Saturday morning. It's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. About the best comfortable time that works for me most of the time, unless my schedule changes. But yeah, we're in it. We got a very specific show today. We're going to cover just more of Countdown with Dean Winchester. That's going down. I think I made up to episode 4. I'm gradually catching up with it. I think I got about 5 and 6 and then 7. Yeah, and then 7. I got 3 episodes after what I covered today. So 2 through 4. And we are also going to remember Immortal Hulk Hogan. That hit pretty close to my heart. And also, all in the same week, we also lost Ozzy Osbourne. We also lost Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Little Theo. Man, I was a kid when he was a kid. Good Lord. What the heck is going on out here? People are checking out. You know? Something else about those that we kind of grew up watching. I learned the hard lesson, you should never put too much faith in celebrities and stuff like that. It's amazing to see them grow up, to the person that they become. And then knowing that their life's journey has been completed. It's something else. But yeah, we'll get to that and, a couple other things. I'm working on this for a buddy of mine, Mission. American Eagle with the U.S. flag and the El Salvadorian flag. So we'll get to that, and I'll probably get around to inking the sorceress some more. I kind of gave her a break, and I've been coloring just a Fairchild of VKP. So that's a little bit of taste of what we're going to cover today. We're going to keep it very simple, and yeah, let's get started. Strictly Art Live, number 88. Okay, go. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Sal for short. What this show is called. I tell you, it takes a lot to just get to a great show, try to vent out, relax, cool down, survive, and share my thoughts with you guys, given my lifestyle. But nonetheless, I'm here and happy to enjoy my time with you. It's just like 2025, man. It's crazy. Human stupidity has gotten to an all-time high. Truthful alliances have been made. Time will tell who your friends are and who are not your friends. You ain't even really got to do much. A wise man observes more than he speaks. But nonetheless, we got Countdown. All right. So we covered episode 1. Meachman, Oliveris, butt heads as the hunt for a DHS officer's killer leads Blythe's newly assembled task force all over LA and ends with a startling revelation, hence the nuclear materials. So episode 2, we got into a little more in depth to what was going on. Blythe's team heads to Mexico to pull off a daring mission for a deadly cartel in exchange for information on the shipment at the port. Now that was very good. It's amazing how they were able to greatly pace out so many things within the hour. I was very impressed. Very impressed. Amazon Prime, this show, whoever is directing the show, they are on a even flow or ebb and flow that is so good. Again, I don't watch shows like these, but this one has my attention, and it's jam packed with all the kind of good stuff one would expect. Now, I've noticed that with some of the agents that's on Blythe's team, they come from different backgrounds, whatnot, and not everyone's a former cop. Some were dealing with other things. But the person that died was FBI agent. He was undercover. So the how can I say this? Oh, I'm sorry, not FBI, but DHS, Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security. Um, there's so many different jurisdictions as to how things occur during this show, and you do have to, hey, if you know somebody that knows somebody that can get you in on the scene, perfect opportunity for so much that's at stake in this show. And that was exactly that. The female, I guess, Oliveris, I cannot pronounce her name, I'm sorry. But the female Hispanic chick, she was good. She used her connections to gather the information, and it actually showed a dark side to her. Someone tried to bring information to Blythe about her that she has bad habits and that she was once hooked to heroin. One of the statements was, once a junkie, always a junkie. So we see as many members of this task force um, sign up for the job, they do have their own demons they have to fight. So in the process of getting the shipment, which was really good because they did like a decoy thing. They got to the border. They managed to make it over the border in Mexico. That was the smooth sailing part. But coming back, it was a little more difficult. They ran the tag. They were a little more stringent about who was coming in. So Dean Winchester, in true Winchester fashion, creates a decoy, and that decoy allows the selected truck, the truck that was holding the goods, to escape while he got arrested. And obviously, since he's already part of the system, getting arrested ain't nothing to him. You know what I'm saying? So that was smooth sailing on their part. But it got intense because Blythe, he actually called in and started to report the one of the vehicles. I think it was the one that he was in. So they were under pressure, but they managed to pull it off, and then brought the wood. But that didn't work out in their favor after they delivered the truck to the cartel. They didn't know that it was a bomb connected to one of the vehicles, and with the cartel members dying breath to the female that knew him was able to get at least one name. And through that one name, we go to, I guess, a flashback in which this guy's in his native country. It's like I think they said it was a satellite country, Russia. He's like, was it Belarus? Yeah. So they kind of showed this guy's background, which he's some kind of like mad bomber type, and his brother was being extorted by a American. An American basically wanted his debt paid through leverage that this guy um, could provide because he worked for. He had access to emails between Russian communication and the company that he worked with. So the Americans shook him down and did all that in order to get, what he needed to. But his brother couldn't live with the guilt, shot himself, killed himself in the bathroom. And that's when that guy pretty much changed. He became first director. Now, it's still made unclear, how this whole process is gonna, pan out. But okay, this guy is creating a bomb. Who's he trying to bomb? You know, and what's his beef? Was because he lost his brother, his reason, his true reason for his motive to attack America. I don't think that was too clear of an understanding. He never really gave a manifesto. It was just this that um, he lost his brother because of the American. But he got the American emails that he asked for, and he said, "Never contact me again." So he never really got his revenge on that guy. He never given his revenge out on all of America. I don't know. That part is kind of grayish for me. I don't think it was what's the word properly rolled out to show the true motive behind, this philosopher native. Not sure. Not sure. But nonetheless, good episode. So moving on. Yeah, there's a lot going on just in that episode too. Episode 3. Happy birthday, Donald. One of the task force members was basically it was his birthday. He was really quiet kept, but he had a family that loved him, and he spent time with his kids and his wife before he went to work. So he got to have a donut. He's a big guy too, so I'm sure he needed calories. So let's see, this basically takes episode 3 to 2 stages a high stakes prison break in an attempt to gain knowledge on the identity and whereabouts of the mysterious Volchek. Volchek is the name that the cartel guy gave before he died. That supplied the fish material that was found in episode 1. Now, Volchek is from Belar. They're trying to pinpoint where he is and all that. And they narrow it down to a guy that Dean Winchester was in prison with. The guy was from Belarus as well, I believe. He trusted no one in the prison except for Dean Winchester. So, the classic line, of course, that pretty much set the tone. Once Dean told the team, what he knew about the guy, he was like, "You gotta send me back to prison." And Blythe, he actually had to pull some heavy strings in order to get back to prison. And the warden still said no. He said that guy was hell in there. He tried his best to get himself killed. And so on and so forth. So Dean Winchester is a handful in what seems like any show he's on. Oh, especially on The Boys. Oh man, his own team hated him. So yeah, it was a lot going on there. Dean actually, they come up with a plan where he's actually being transported, and the informant guy that Dean knew from prison before, he gets transferred as well. Not officially, of course, but it's a cover. and they're in the same truck, and that's where they pretty much play into their break. They're kind of like breakout. The driver, obviously, members of the task force, including the Hispanic female. I don't want to butcher their names, so I'll leave it at that. Um, and the big guy, who it was his birthday, they both were like the guards who um, drive the truck, the transport. And they faked a busted tire, so Dean and the guy couldn't go up. Build that level of trust. It gets to the point where Dean takes a shotgun and he literally shoots the big guy, shoots next to the big guy, like in his head, to make it look realistic and to show he meant business. So that was interesting and fun, and they kept it moving until the guy, the guy, the informant, he got in contact with his uncle who owned a dance club, and they were going to get him out of the country because Dean planned his character in prison. He's like, hey, I got nothing to do with it, so can you help a brother out? But once they get there, his uncles said he brought him there, kind of exposed somebody he didn't know into the mix. Meanwhile, Dean Winchester's wandering around the whole dance place looking for the bathroom. And no one's in there but just a handful of people. And Dean makes his way. He makes contact with his team, makes his way downstairs to an area which he was not supposed to see certain things. And of course, by his, what they call it, the common cap, the cap that Common Sense used to wear, the rapper, Volchek, inside of the shadows and saying, what you're doing down there, that kind of thing. And Dean plays stupid. He's like, hey, I don't know what's going on. These guys are speaking in Belisarian, I guess that's the way you probably say it. And he doesn't know what's going on, but Volchek informs the uncle that he's seen the plan. So the uncle is basically telling his nephew that we have to kill him in his language. Dean doesn't know what the hell is going on, but he's compliant. And by the time as that's going on, his team has a bad feeling, and they end up coming in right before Dean's executed. And that goes into a shootout that costs a task member's life. And while Dean did help the big guy on his birthday from getting hit, he said the uncle missed, but he shot Drew. And that was the guy that worked closely with Blythe. He was the guy that made a deal with Blythe. Hey, allow me to have time to do coaching, and then I can help you with the task. And it was as straight of a shot that it was. It was straight to the heart. It's like you saw where it landed. It was like, oh, come on. That's how the episode ended. It was like, oh, So from there, episode 4, still reeling from their loss. The team tracks down Timur, I can't pronounce his name, sorry. Timur was the informant. They're trying to track down his uncle, Mikhail, and hatches a plan to lure Volchek out into So this episode brings in signature classic shakedown tactics when it comes to questioning. They go and locate Mikhail's residency, and they perform a raid in which his wife was trying to get away. They stop the wife, they Winchester once again. I always gotta call it while she's trying to get away in the car. He puts the gate up, she rams it, and she backs off, and they get her out the car and take her in for questioning. So Blythe's secret command when he wants information without no excuses, he'll say break them, and then they go in and then they hammer the person that they're interrogating with questions, barrage of questions, shakedowns, lets them know, if you don't do this, you'll get this. How much time you're gonna do. Not just you, we're gonna get your family too. Just really just drop the hammer on you all at once. Their interrogation tactics are superb. They're to the point because they're on a countdown, and so they get the wife to the point where she indicates that there's a way that she secretly messages Miguel, and they tell him key things that only he would know that it's her, and they get him out in the open with her, and he immediately knows it's the setup. And this dude's balling out. I mean, like running, like he is dipping, going through the metro, across town, getting it. Mikhail ain't no slouch, and they get him anyway. And then they go and try to break him and shake him down. He won't budge. So the tech savvies of the group, they find out that they go back to the wife. The wife states that he has a daughter. I think the wife said no. They track down the driver that took Timur, the informant, over to his uncle's dance place, the club or whatever. And they find the guy at a job. They find heroin on him magically, and then they shake him down and say, "Hey, look, we're going down for this unless you give us something." So he states he has a daughter from a mistress, and then that's his soft spot. That's Mikhail's soft spot for them to hammer. So one of the cyber techniques, or what do you call it, data analyst that searches our information, she kind of has the appearance of his estranged daughter, and they use that to go ahead and dive in on her. And it doesn't take long, But alas, to no avail. Mikhail set him up. He met up with he contacted Volchek where to meet him. And Volchek sent out a decoy, possibly because he was taking him out the whole day. He's very calm and collect on how he does things, overt. I guess he has to be, as a bomb guy. Very calculated. Very calculated. That's pretty much how it ends up. They do manage to have, they gave Drew's wife the news that he had passed, and then they had her show up at their task force headquarters, and she made them promise her that they would get the bastards that killed her husband. So that's how that turned out. I look forward to what happens next. I'll watch more either today or between the next show. I don't know what's been going on. His allergies can light me up too. I'm getting lit up on all fronts. Lord help me. Lord help me. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to spend the rest of the show and talk mainly about Hulk Hogan and my connection with Malcolm-Jamal Warner growing up watching him on the Cosby Show, and the very little association or affiliation I have with Ozzy Osbourne. I was about to say Norman Osborn, forgive me. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, about 2 minutes to get refreshed, and by all means, keep back and get refreshed as well, right here on Strictly Art Live, number 88. With me, your host, Rob Wilson. Okay, this is where it works. Or not. I guess it doesn't want to work. Ah, technology. Don't you just love it? Pretty soon, technology is going to be telling us what to do. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Let's see. Let's try this again. Okay, back to the action. Now, me personally, I would love to have started off this part of the show with the full video of I Am a Real American. I would love to. But because we have a-holes like YouTube that will instantly allow WWE to flag my video, my live stream, whatever you want to call it, can't have fun. You just can't have fun in this day and age. But regardless, I'm going to talk to you about how big of an impact somebody like Hulk Hogan or just pro wrestling in general has had on my life. When I was a young kid going to middle school, I was watching football, Redskin fan, DMV native. So I had the Redskin high tops, I had the trading cards, all that good stuff. Daryl Clark, Charles Manning, Art Monk, the Dream Team, Joe Gibbs first round. Um, and then they started losing after they won the Super Bowl, going to Disneyland after the Super Bowl, all that great stuff. They started losing and losing and losing and losing. I was like, you know what? My innate higher intelligence, even as a kid, said, you know what? Forget this. I'm not watching this. I'm tired of watching these guys lose. I'm gonna go watch pro wrestling. And when I did, I ran into a world that inspired me for the rest of my life, even to today. So much. When I was a kid, I would watch Saturday Morning Superstars. I would hear words that I had no idea what they meant. I would hear phrases that I had no idea what they meant. I just knew that they were said with tenacity, with the intent to insult, with the intent to intimidate. Overall, you could tell the feeling of what they were saying. So me as a kid, again, probably not your average kid, I would sit in front of the TV watching WWE Superstars with a notepad and a dictionary because I wanted to know what these words meant. And I added them to my vocabulary. Crazy phrases from Bob Backlund and even poetic elegance by um, Terry Bollea. Especially commercials he would do for deodorant, his portrayal in was it Mr. Nanny? You know, Mr. Nanny was like the original, pacifier type movie where you take the tough guy and he has to babysit. I think Mr. Nanny wasn't he before Kindergarten Cop, somewhere around there. But his Hulk Hogan's first big break was Rocky 3. And I remember as a kid when my grandmother was still alive, it was like Thanksgiving. And we were over a house having Thanksgiving dinner. Rocky 3 was on. And I see this behemoth. By then, I barely, knew a little bit about the world or whatnot. And I saw Rocky Balboa. Everybody knew Rocky. But you had this behemoth giant in the form of Thunder Lips as he went by in the movie. And as big as the guy was, you dare not laugh. He'd kick your butt. You know what I'm saying? But he took on Rocky for a charity event in the movie, and they really went at it. Based on how they filmed it and the choreography and whatnot, it looked pretty damn real and pretty damn rough. And the Rocky movies were good at doing that. You add somebody like Hulk Hogan to the mix, you got absolute gold. And Rocky had to fight this guy even before he got to Clubber Lang. You know what I'm saying? So it was like he actually did have to face giants. This is before Ivan Draco. So it was a unique crossover, a meeting where worlds collide. As a kid, I couldn't see a lot of the WrestleManias because my parents didn't get the pay-per-views and nothing like that. So I always saw like the Saturday morning superstars and then, Monday Night Wars or Monday Night Raw. And then I also watched WCW. And that by then, Hulk Hogan was Hollywood Hogan. And that was about around the time when I was on the fighting game arcade scene. So you would have people with NWO shirts, Hollywood Hogan shirts, Austin 316 shirts, in the arcade. And we were playing, like Marvel, what was it, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superhero Soul Calibur, or what was it, Soul Edge at the time. We were playing Tekken 3 and all that. So the wrestling thing was real. And then some of my buddies that had it made, they would have the pay-per-view at their house, and we will all go over there and enjoy it. It was pretty awesome. Again, what was it? Nintendo 64, WCW, NWO, um, NWO Revenge, all those games that had Hulk Hogan damn near everywhere. When you went from Rocky 3 to No Holds Barred, oh man, No Holds Barred was the movie. You could not keep me away from watching that movie. But nonetheless, I say all that to say this. Hulk Hogan was a huge piece of Americana. He fought the Iron Sheik when there was political war going on, when there was war going on in the Middle East at the time. He's teamed up with Sergeant Slaughter. He's even, I think he did fight Zeus in the ring as well. He's had Mr. T in his corner. That guy has seen everything. And sure, there's some crazy things that Hulk Hogan's also done. Some wrestlers have called him out for it. But I'm definitely going to take Ric Flair's approach when TMZ interviewed him about that. Everybody makes mistakes. You can't be in that business of pro wrestling back in the 80s or 70s or 60s without making some kind of mistakes, because it's a learning curve. All of it is, hey, we're doing this on the fly. This is where we're going with. We'll see if the fans like it. Hey, decompress. There's a lovely lady here. Oh no, but just people make mistakes. There are going to be groupies for every type of rock star. Terry Bollea, he played the guitar. So a very multi-talented individual. I know when he went to TNA, he influenced it heavily. They got rid of the six-sided ring. He was too big of a guy to really deal with the X division anyway, in my opinion. But as they changed it, he also heavily influenced that federation, introducing his daughter into some of the storylines, just all kinds of stuff. And the NWO is memorable because in the WCW days, you see all these hardworking, like young cruiserweights doing their thing, and all you hear is three letters: NWO. And it'd be like 10 NWO members just come in the ring and they toss out the wrestlers. It's like, oh man, it's so terrible. It's wrong, you know. But they held their dominance on it. They were a hell of a biker gang. And very unique for its time. Especially with Sky Hall, Kevin Nash, the whole nine. So, kind of listened to a couple of people's reactions to the passing of Hulk Hogan. Even Sylvester Stallone. I have not heard a word from Vince McMahon. The last time I've heard Vince McMahon say anything about Hulk Hogan was when Hulk Hogan had a scandal and Vince McMahon was like, Hulk Hogan who? And they pulled his merchandise and all that stuff, so I get it. But there has definitely been colliding egos when it's come to Hulk Hogan and other people that wanted the spotlight. He was that guy that wanted the spotlight and he had to fight for it, Same thing as if you're a king of the hill, people are going to come climbing that hill. You best be ready, It's like they say, no one stays in the top forever. But I will say this, that Hulk Hogan has been around for such a long time. He is probably the closest to staying on top for as long as possible. Excuse me, for as long as he possibly could. And even when the wind changed, he still found ways to diversify his portfolio like a true businessman. So he was very much ahead of his time. Was it always fair? Was it always just? Was everybody always walking away happy? Probably not. But like I said, to take Ric Flair's statement, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does. You can't please everybody. It's just like me, myself. I'm a comic book artist. I would love to do comic book artwork full time. Even if I did, and I produce my book, as quickly as possible, everybody's not going to like it. That's just the way it is. It's like sometimes I get so many views on a live stream here, this show, or maybe a previous show, um, and the numbers go low. I got no control over that. People see it if they see it. YouTube may take down a short because I call them garbage or trash. Hey, it's their platform, but that's why I don't put all my stake into YouTube. So it's a concept of, hey, especially if you're successful, oh, they're gonna come for you even more. But as far as just keep Yep, mic check. They just dropped my mic. I saw it. I caught him. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, yeah. But yeah, one of the key things is that if you maintain a consistent pattern of behavior, people that'll rock with you will rock with you. They'll be around. Some may come and go for the hype. Some may show up just for the hype and then be gone as soon as you're down. But when I look at like somebody like Hulk Hogan, he definitely embodied the American dream. Not everybody liked it. Not everybody likes America, unfortunately. That's a fact. But nonetheless, he represented at some point in some time where you had some kind of positive message. He's gotten baptized. He's made his peace with Christ before he passed on. You know, he's lived a full life. To some people, 71 might not seem like much, but he's accomplished more in his life. There's some people that have maybe lived to 100, you know? And that can take its toll. That can definitely take its toll. I have a great amount of respect for all the success he has made, even the influences he's made in my life. I like Hogan. Everybody did the Hulk Hogan flex back in the day, and did let me tell you something, brother. Pretty much, damn near all my friends did back in the day. We were all into it, just cause it was wrestling. And even if you didn't know wrestling, you at least knew who Hulk Hogan was. That is one of the most iconic names of all time in American history. He has made himself a piece of American history, no question about it. He's been a part of movies that have been replayed millions of times, even to this day, and they will never be forgotten because they have a message, a decent message, and that embodies the American spirit. Whether it's Rocky, whether it's No Holds Barred, even introduced in Suburban Commando, he was an alien. And in that movie, they introduced the age of suing people for anything. Because there was one point where like some bikers that were setting it off, and he figured he'd get the jump on. He was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna pound my face?" And the bikers looked at each other. It's like, "What are you nuts? This is the '90s. We're gonna sue you." That wasn't even a thing. And if you look at American history now, today, people will sue people for anything. This one guy, he sued a chick for taking her out to the movies because she was not engaged in the date. And he won the case. He got the money from her like the movie ticket equivalency. That's what kind of world we live in today. And it's really interesting to see all that, occur. Speaking of which, Suburban Commando, where his name was Ramsey, that was also the same movie where we got the Undertaker in his baby voice. That was a trip because Undertaker, he was like a bounty hunter there, and something hit him, and he was like, "You're a good man, Ramsey." That was classic trip. So Hulk Hogan's movies were fun. I know he did. Was it Trouble in Paradise? That was a show. He always stayed on the go, always coming up with new ideas, creative ideas, and that's what I think is um, the best concept of having the entrepreneurial mindset. He's an inspiration to us all, even if you don't like the guy. But guess what? If you spend more time not liking the guy than learning from him, you're missing out on the big picture. There's no question about it. You are missing out on the big picture. He made his peace with the Ultimate Warrior before the Ultimate Warrior passed. You know, I know there is some friction between him and Savage, but him and Savage go way back, man. You know, and, and just like they said, Larry Zabisco, the NWO is only as stable as Randy Savage. Like that guy was classic. Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage were two wrestlers that lived their character. Like they never really cut it off. And I will say this. I think Hulk Hogan left us with one of the best messages that anyone of his caliber could have left us when he gave his speech over at the RNC last year. You know, he I didn't know he did one promo. And he mentioned Donald Trump like beating somebody from the top of Trump Tower down to the mud slop or something like that. I was like, bruh, this is some history you cannot ignore. And if you do, you're missing the big picture. So I have to emphasize that so much, even though I wish I could say it with a little less trying to catch my breath. Because like I said, these allergies have been lighting me up. I've been in recovery mode for a couple days. But yeah, his if you don't get anything else from the history and what Hulk Hogan was able to accomplish, Terry Bollea, at least understand this. There's always new ways to stay afloat, create new ways of inspiration, be creative, practice your craft. And whatever it is, practice your craft, get better, be better than the next person that you don't like. Because if you at least do that, you can improve and your hard work of improvement will show eventually. Someone's going to notice it in whatever it is that you do. If you don't recognize that, I don't know what to tell you. But that's part of the American dream. You work hard, say your prayers, and eat your vitamins. That's a good message. I still take my vitamins to this day. I take more now than I did back in the day. So, may he rest in peace. You know what I mean? Hulk Hogan's, he's given a lot. He's given a lot. And, may his family grieve in peace. May they find peace in his celebration of life. But that's crazy, man. For me, it took a couple of days. It's like that's a testament to showing, like, damn, I am getting old. I grew up off of Hulk Hogan. I grew up off of Malcolm-Jamal Warner, Theo from the Huxtable, when he was a short kid, still taller than me. And he had a dad he could look up to. He had a dad that taught him hard lessons. He had a dad that sent him off to college. You know what I mean? Well, seeing all of that growth and move forward, even beyond the Cosby Show, How many of y'all ever heard of Homeboys in Outer Space? I said, no, no, actually, he wasn't in that. He was in, was it Eddie and Jamal? Eddie Griffin and Jamal? He stayed busy. He stayed busy. So, hearing these guys passing between, the 50s and 70s, that's I don't know. That could be the standard lifespan now these days, or what? I mean, these guys could afford, you know, really good health care, and still trying to stay in this human race, this life called the human race. It ain't easy. It is not easy at all. But I commend anyone that tries their best to get the most out of this life. Why not? You know what I mean? You only get one, as they say. And then if you get more than one, don't let that discourage you from trying to get the best out of this one. All right? Take that as you will. Now, Ozzy Osbourne. Didn't know really much of him. I just heard the documentaries, and his clip in World of Warcraft, where he did the Eye of the Power, and he was like a necromancer or a mage or something like that. One of his commercials. And I was like, look at this guy. But I know he was a pioneer for his age, in the era of rock and roll. I remember seeing a documentary on Dio, and they were explaining that, there was a certain way that Ozzy Osbourne would do his, devil horns, and then Dio would come along and do his in a different variation, showing it's his, coming of age or his time. That was their thing. I wasn't really into the Osbournes reality TV show. But, I mean, them folks been around for like forever, so there you go. You know what I mean? But to have all three of them, and then I think there was an artist too that passed as well. So we got fourth in 1 week. Says a lot. Says a lot. And out of anything else, if it doesn't mean anything else to you, at least just understand this: life is precious. Do not sit back and hate and despise your entire life. Find some kind of silver lining that you can find peace and joy. One of the tough things about, life, life may suck. So what? Toughen up. You got to. Because there's going to come a time and point where you're going to have to be responsible for your happiness. And I'd be damned if I let anybody take away my joy, my happiness. So I think that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry if I went off kind of on a tangent, but that's how I feel. I know it's not a million, 2 million view worthy statement, but it's what I got. I'm Rob Wilson, ladies and gents. Y'all take care. Value and love the ones that are close to you. Treat every day like it's your last, because tomorrow's not promising. If anyone does, remember, it's a setup. Y'all take care. Thanks for joining Strictly Art Live number 88. Sal, right here with me, your host, Rob Wilson. Peace.
motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Hey, Claudia.